What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is day 8 of the second annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today comes from Rogue Ales, and they're out of Newport, Oregon, and this is their pumpkin patch ale. So they're calling this a pumpkin ale that is brewed with Rogue Farms pumpkins, and they're also spicing this one with orange peel, cinnamon, clove, cardamom, vanilla, ginger, and nutmeg. Comes in at 6.1% alcohol by volume. 25 IBUs in the time of review. I have no idea how old this bottle is because they do not have a bottle on date, but considering this is October and these are usually released at the very earliest in July, this is probably no older than around 3 months old and probably a bit fresher than that. So I have never had this beer before. I've always liked the look of this beer. It's, pops with the, the whole bright orange, like ceramic kind of feel they have to this this bottle. It looks awesome, but we'll talk about it at the end. The main reason I don't buy this beer, haven't in the past, is the price point. It's quite expensive, in my opinion, so I have kind of avoided it, but this year I wanted to give it a go, and I grabbed it. Most of you probably can get this beer out there, so I was like, I'll review something that everyone can get, and yeah, I grabbed it. So yeah, the one cool thing about Rogue is they source all of their stuff from Rogue Farms for the most part when it comes to the ingredients to their beers, and that's cool to see. But yeah, anyway, let's crack this open, get it into a glass. I had to remember all those spices off the top of my head. They say those on the website, but they don't list them anywhere here on the bottle. They just talk about, how they have the Rogue Farms and everything. They have the ABV and the IBUs and everything, but they don't have the spices that they use, which is weird. I just thought they would. They don't. Anyway, let's pour this in to the glass here. It smells pretty good, and I just got a whiff of it, so give it a nice hearty pour here. Try to generate a decent head if we can. That should be good. Yeah, that looks nice. Huge bottle. Do some damage with this fucking bottle. It's huge, heavy. So, yeah, that pours out like so many of these regular pumpkin beers. A deep copper, rust color, amber, because of the lights, has like a a reddish to lighter orange tinge on the outside. Has about a finger of this cream colored, super creamy looking head. Actually, the head looks fantastic, and the beer itself looks good. So let's get a nose on it. Yeah, this actually smells a little bit more earthy than most of the pumpkin beers I've been reviewing this year. Yeah, it has like an earthy pumpkin vibe to it. I'm pricking up. I'm always a prick. No, I'm picking up on definitely ginger. The cardamom's there too, and I've not reviewed any pumpkin beers during this 10 Days of Pumpkin that have cardamom in it, at least to my knowledge. So that's interesting. A little bit of vanilla, cinnamon type of thing going on. Clove. I guess I'm getting most of these spices actually. Not the orange peel really. Has a lot of caramelized, like brown sugar, like caramel toffee type of vibe to it. Sweeter, almost like a toasted malt as well. It smells like a good pumpkin beer. That's what it smells like. Just a really solid, good pumpkin beer. Getting actually some of the pumpkin, getting most of the spices, and like the sweeter caramelized sugar. And that's kind of what I expect from a pumpkin beer. So it smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Way more, a little bit of a drop going on there. Way more like earthy than I anticipated. Actually getting a little bit of the zestiness from the orange peel. So right up front, body on this one, lower side of medium body, 6.1%. I'm cool with that. The mouthfeel itself, it's carbonated quite a bit. Yeah, soft and smooth, but more carbonation than most of the pumpkin beers I've had. Not really creamy at all. This is very earthy. Yeah, quite earthy, actually. Right up front, I'm hit with like subtle caramelized sugar, like more brown sugar than anything. A little bit of toasted malt passed through the palate. The earthiness, I think it's coming from the pumpkins. Could be like just the blend of spices, but I'm getting more of an earthy, like almost herbaceous, like just character to it. The finish is more cinnamon. Yeah, cinnamon, clove, a little bit of that cardamom, vanilla, the ginger getting kind of lost in here, the nutmeg. That zesty orange component from the orange peel is mid-palate as well. Kind of like where it transitions from the earthy pumpkin into the rest of the spices. I'm kind of hit with a zesty orange peel. The finish on this one is actually semi to full on dry. There's a big dryness here, and again, I think that's coming from the actual spices. A little bit of residual sweetness, but very, very little. It's relatively clean outside of like just that lingering like dryness. Not much going on within the palate. Listen, it's solid. It's nothing really to write home about for me. I really wanted this beer to be quite delicious because I love the packaging. And even though the price point of Rogue beers are quite high for me and too expensive in general, they do make good beer. I feel like a lot of their beers are solid. It's just pricey. But at the end of the day, this is just kind of, this is kind of reminding me of like the first beer on day one, Pumpkinhead Ale from Shipyard. This isn't a bad beer at all. It's a solid beer. It's kind of your run-of-the-mill, I think, pumpkin beer. So I'm going to give it a run-of-the-mill score. So Pumpkin Patch Ale from Rogue, I'm going to give a straight 3.5 out of 5. Can't go much higher than that. It's just, if you really like pumpkin flavor or you like earthy flavors in your beers, especially your pumpkin ales, this would be for you. This would be probably pretty great. For me, it's just a bit too earthy. The spices don't pop as much as I want them to, and there's not enough like of a malt sweetness to kind of balance out all the earthiness and the spiciness. So it's a 3.5 out of 5. It's a solid pumpkin ale, but for me, it just falls short of, you know, some of the better ones I've had this year. It's not a bad beer, just not one I probably would ever get again, but I'm glad I did try it once. So Rogue Ales, their Pumpkin Patch Ale, 3.5 out of 5. Now, we get to the point where I talk about the price and availability. So price point on this one. Now, keep in mind, this is a 750 milliliter bottle, so this is 25.4 ounces. And this cost me in my area. Now it might be different. This can probably range from anywhere from like $10 to $13.99. Might even be more expensive for other people. But I paid $13.99, $14 for this bottle. Now look, if this was a 10% Imperial Stout craziness, I would have no problem paying the 14 bucks. But we're talking about a 6.1% pumpkin ale that is brewed with spices, and they're using all their Rogue Farm stuff. But to simplify it, cut this bottle in half. Half of this bottle would be 375 milliliters, which would be a 12.7 fluid ounce bottle. So you get 0.7 more ounces than you would in a 12-ounce bottle. This would cost you $6.99 or $7. Would you? Well, I certainly would not pay $7 for a single 12.7 ounce, 375 milliliter bottle of this. I probably wouldn't even pay $3 for it, honestly. But that's the one thing about Rogue for me, is that the price points of their beer are just incredibly, incredibly high, too high in a lot of respects. And I will, without a shadow of a doubt, never buy this beer again at $13.99. I would never buy this beer probably in general, but for $13.99, there's no way. And I can't recommend it to anybody for that price point. If you're curious about the beer like I was, then yeah, pay the 11, 12, 13, 14 bucks for this bottle. But for me, it's not a value for me. I did their hazelnut brown nectar, and that was delicious, and that was a little bit more expensive, and I'd still pay that price for it because it was a good beer. But this beer to me is just a solid pumpkin ale. Never would pay the 14 bucks. So now I'll just settle down with the whole price thing. Availability, wherever Rogue gets distribution, which is a lot of places nowadays. So if you want to try this one and you're curious about it, then you should be able to find it if you get Rogue products in your area. But yeah, never buy this. I will never buy this one again. I'm not like disappointed or angry or anything. I wish it was better. I wish, you know, I'm paying 14 bucks for this bottle. I wish that this was in like a 4 out of 5, and I really enjoyed it, because as is, this just is not a great pumpkin beer for me. It's a solid run-of-the-mill, slightly above average pumpkin beer, and that's what it is. So if anybody out there has had this one before, I'd be curious to hear your take on it, as I always am. It's really fun to kind of, you know, go back and forth with people who've had the beer. I haven't seen anyone who said they had this beer when I did the whole vlog of the beers I was reviewing for the Tempeh Pumpkin. So I'll be curious to see if anybody comments and what they say about it, because just for me, it's kind of you know, run of the mill. So anyway, 6.1%. I am getting a little bit of like booziness in the chest, like a little bit of warming in the stomach, which is weird. 6.1%. Let me go back for one more sip. Yeah, just too earthy. Not enough spices. Not enough malt character for me. Anyway, yeah. I guess I am a little bit bummed, honestly. So, I don't know. I'm going to shut it down. This was day 8 of the 10 days, second annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. Tomorrow, stop by for day 9. It's going to be another Western York Wednesday. It's going to be Big Ditches Stouts Giving, part of their Detour series, their pumpkin pie. hopefully that one's a little bit better than this one. But yeah, anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. Until the next one, cheers.